How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another Sim-Alot stream where today we're hopping back in to Grounded 2. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I know that I am. Just got done with a pretty long round of D&D. Just got done with a pretty long round of Tavern Masters. And here we are to play a little bit of Grounded 2. So welcome, everybody. I hope you're all having a fantastic weekend so far. Tails, great to see you. Why try harder, dude? Thoughts on the mod and that C Dinky did and them? I honestly haven't checked it out. I got done streaming late last night, spent some time with the kids, then got up today and played D&D from like 10 a.m. till like a half an hour before I started here. So I haven't checked it out yet, but hopefully soon. Horizon, great to see you. Tails, welcome. How was D&D? It was phenomenal. Let me tell you guys, I got some fun stories for you guys from around from D&D today. It was great. They did a bunch of awesome things, took down a big old boss. It's going to be a good one. But first, let's get into the game here so that way you guys got a little something to watch here. We'll get loaded in and it's going to be a good one. Okay. Here we are. So today we're going to be focusing on a little bit of a gatehouse build. I want to start getting myself a little bit of an area to get into my base. So I want a gatehouse, right? I want somewhere where I can hang out, do raids, or focus on taking on raids. And I can go through and have something that looks nice too. So we're going to be focusing on a gatehouse today. It's going to be right outside of my standard base, right over here. If you guys know where I'm talking about, where I started this here, I want to start a gatehouse build over here. And I'm going to be focusing on doing it out of pebblet foundations, not clay foundations. So it's going to be ever so slightly just a little bit different. So welcome all, welcome. Okay, what are my levels of my players? They all hit level 4 today. They took down a gem drake, which was, I don't have it out with me right now, but it was that big silver and purple lizard that I was showing in last night's stream. They fought phase 2 of it today, which it had a wicked breath attack and stuff like that. But we have deities in my stream, or my playthrough on D&D right now, and they ended up using their deific intervention to come through and help them beat it down, which helped them get to level 4. It was a whole thing. It was really, really awesome the way it all came together. But let's start out with some pebblet foundations here. I'm going to get some pebblet foundations put in over here. Looks like we're going to do about 3 up. And if I can I do dragging this guy over just slightly like that? I'm going to drag this over maybe like that, and then drag this guy over maybe like that. That looks okay. I'm gonna come out here. We're gonna get one spot that comes out, maybe another one that comes over like this, and then we'll build. Maybe I'll only do 2 high. I'm only gonna do 2 high. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do 2 high. I think that it's gonna look better if I only do 2. There we go. And that's going to be in line with the rest of this too. So it's going to be good. Also, I don't know if it's just you, but sometimes on mic when talking goes all terrible. Give me a second. This is a little bit of a reset for the mic to stop being all garbage. So thank you for letting me know in advance that it was kind of being a pile of garbage. That way it doesn't sound like crap for the rest of the stream. I do appreciate it. Yours don't reach level 4 for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, I decided to throw them an extra level today because things were going to start getting a lot harder. The bosses that they were going to fight were going to have about maybe 50 to 60 more health. And then honestly, like, then they started pulling in deific intervention. They didn't even need it, honestly, with what they were fighting. But still, we gave them the level, and it ended up being really fun and really funny and stuff like that. They all had a great time, which is the most important part of playing D&D, right? Is your people having yourself a great time. So, all right, let me see here if I can put this guy away. Get some water because I'm running out of water. I need to get some food. Do I have my food trinket on? I don't. Let me get that food trinket right now. We're going to grab a little bit of water so that way we're not going to dehydrate on anybody here. It's your birthday. We wish for you to have a great day. I absolutely will. Happy birthday, and I hope you do have a phenomenal day today. But really, happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday. Okay, the other thing I need to do is I need to start moving this stuff. I need to get this somewhere where it's not going to be right in the middle of my stuff. So I'm thinking maybe like right here. That could be okay. I wonder if I can move the whole thing at once. I don't think I can. Can I move you? This is probably going to end up breaking the whole thing. Won't be the end of the world if it does. No, but it's just floating now. That's not so awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a whole session on just how to level up and deal with feats, etc. So yeah, when they hit level 4 today, when they hit level 4, they all got feats, they all got extras, they all got different things added to them, which thankfully I have 3 people who are very experienced with, maybe 4 people that are very experienced with D&D, and 1 person that's not so super experienced with D&D, but it's still being able to take it on a lot and being able to do pretty much everything that the rest of the players are going to be able to do because they've played a whole bunch of Baldur's Gate. That's why I said if you're looking to play D&D, to go through and play through Baldur's Gate 3, if you play through it, you're going to do pretty well, honestly, when going through and playing D&D. There's a known bug for fallen milk molars not appearing on the map in the new areas. There is one milk molar that is currently inside of a wall. That is a known bug right now. So if you're running into that bug and you're looking for that milk molar that's over in the garden area, over near the new base, you are going to run into a wee bit of a problem where you are going to be stuck trying to get to that milk molar and you legitimately just can't. Of course, my phone's here bugging out on me here. What do we got to say over here? Oh, look, it's a whole bunch of nonsense. Who would have guessed? Okay. A little bit of water before we start on the orange soda. Never played it personally. I'm just a huge nerd for D&D. Honestly, look, guys, D&D is one of those games that I believe that a lot of people can have a lot of fun with. It just requires imagination. It just requires you to be able to let loose and try to open yourself up to playing a game that is completely discoverable through using words, right? It's like telling a story. It's cooperative storytelling is what it is. And if you or your DM can successfully go through and explain an environment, people can use their imagination looking at the environment and go, oh, okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand going through and, you know, you talking about a cavern that I'm in, or a cave, or I'm in an open field with a lake in the distance, and you can see the water shining off, and you can hear the water flowing in. Like, there's all sorts of different ways that you can go through and give a little bit more detail that will open up the experience for the players, or open up your experience as a player, and things like that. So it's one of those things that can be really fun, but it does rely a little bit more on a DM to give you a little bit more Dungeon Master, on those who are looking to get into the game for the first time. You've never played a proper D&D game. I played Rick and Morty version one night, but the DM was drunk, so didn't go too far. Hey, you know, if you're having fun, it doesn't matter if they're drinking a little bit. Normally what we go through and do is we have some excellent people that come to play the game, and they have a couple of drinks with them before they come over and stuff like that. It tends to lead to some really, really fun and exciting times. But it's definitely easier when everybody's sober. For your air raids, you had like 6 stairs and nothing around it, always spawned in air raids. That's kind of why I pushed mine out so much, so I can start getting those air raids, pushed it out that way. Don't let me forget today, by the way, just popped into my head. Don't let me forget that we are going to be focusing on getting some snake scales today, because I would also, beyond doing this build, I'd like to work a little bit more on my wizard build and start getting Whittle Wizard upgraded, so that way I have that passive mutation upgraded as well. Basically, but you get to be a god, so it's fun. Oh, well, yeah. Snake scale spawn over 48 hours. I'm not even going to go look at the scale or the snake for a little while. I'm going to focus on building for a little bit here, and then we'll go over and we'll get the 4 scales that I can get. I think that I have the chest plate done, which means one more day with the snake, and I'll have every piece of the armor made. Let me double check, actually. Let me see. I got the bale scale right there. I have the chest plate right there. Okay, so I just need the legs and the head, and in order to make the legs and the head, it's been almost 48 hours since I played the game, so I'm not sure right where I was, but all right, honestly, I can make this. So I'm going to make that really quick once I go over to my smithing table, crafting table, and then for the legs here, let's see. There. I only need 2. So I only need 2 more pieces, technically, and I will have the rest of my gear ready and made for myself. Very good. Okay, so let's run right over here before we go take a little snoozy poo and grab ourselves our helmet. And there it is. Did I upgrade this stuff at all? I don't remember if I upgraded my chest plate at all. I got it to level 3, so let's see if I can get my helmet to level 3 as well. I can get it to level 1. What does it take for brittle plating again right now? Well, I know what it takes for brittle plating, but what is it going to take for me to get there? I got 71 marble shards. Okay. Yeah, say less. Okay, let's get this guy upgraded. There we go. Could have been power devastation right there on that. Oops. You got it to level 4 for the extra passive. Did I get to level 4? I don't think I got it to level. I think I got it to level. Oh, I did get it to level 4. You're right. What's my top 3 weapons I could use instead of Axel's Talon, because you're bored of it and can't be Wolf Daggers or Pinchwhacker? Top 4 weapons other than Pinchwhacker and Axel's Talon and the Wolf Spider Daggers. Okay, so Discord for the bow, for sure. The Acid Ruin for the staff, or Wither Sting for the staff, because it's a really, really good staff. The Icicles for sure, because I love the way that they go through and do ice damage. And then finally, I'd probably have to say the Black Ant Sword over anything else, because the charge attack on the Black Ant Sword is really powerful. But I think I would interchangeably swap the Black Ant Sword for maybe a Coltana, because I like both of those swords. And honestly, I think the Coltana looks better than a Black Ant Sword, but it's up to you on whether or not you want to go through and use something that's a one-handed sword or a two-handed sword. But that would probably be my top 4. The new Reapers with a boomstick? The boomstick's good, but I'm not so great at doing extra power-ups. Right? So for me, the boomstick is all right, but the charging of weapons, the charging of the boomstick kind of takes a while. And that's not really my jam. I'm more of allowing things to charge quickly. That's why I'm kind of bummed out with how long it charges for my daggers here. It's pretty quick, but the sickles is even longer. The sickles, for them to charge up, takes quite a little bit of time for the sickles to actually charge up for you to do that charge attack. But I definitely prefer the Wolf's Fang daggers over the sickles, if you had to give me one or the other. Yeah, I found another problem. Earwig armor and etc. for a charge build, that is true. I mean, the earwig armor, If I remember correctly, doesn't the earwig armor... The earwig armor gives hasty repose, which means if you do perfect blocking, it greatly increases melee charge attack speed, which, if you combine that with the boom, the hammer, the jalapeno, for some reason the name just, woo, bye-bye. But the boomstick, that's the name of it. With the boomstick, it's going to lower that charge time. But really, if you were to go through and use the pinch whacker with this gear, you could also get a really powerful build out of that as well, using all 3 pieces of the earwig armor. But I know that, Fenna, you were talking about asking about a build that was outside of using the pinch whacker. But still, just something to keep in mind for yourself. But Why Try Harder Dude definitely has some great tips over on Twitch for sure. So thank you for throwing those tips in there. Okay. So, let's go and grab my pebblets that are going to be right over here, because I'm going to need... Actually, you know what? Screw running over here and get pebblets. Let's grab Ripley, who happens to be underneath the map currently, and see if we can grab General Obi-Wan from right over here. And let's go underneath the picnic table, because underneath the picnic table, we're going to be able to get a lot of pebblets and a lot of clay. And I'm going to need... If right now I need 99 pebblets and 66 clay, I'm probably going to need double that for the build that I'm going to do today. So, like, probably 200 pebblets and 120 clay is what I'm going to need to finish out what I'm trying to do. So, let's head over there now. The new Reapers are underrated. I think, honestly, the new Reapers are okay, but I feel like that the new Reapers themselves require a trinket for them to be good. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that you don't think that the new Reapers need the trinket to be good. Because right now, if you have the Crush trinket, also known as Valentine's Fortune, it makes the healing that you get from the Crimson Reapers a lot better. But if you don't have that, they're okay at best, in my opinion. Pair the the Stranger Reapers with the Mantis armor. With the crits? With the crits? Maybe. Crimson Reapers are reaping blades where you heal a percentage of your max health when you kill things, but why pair it with the Mantis armor when they don't deal with critting at all? Their crit percentage on them is okay. Like, the crit percent on them is okay. It's like half what you get with, say, like, Wolfsfang Fangs, right? Even, it matches Icicles, I guess. But it's not going to crit all the time, and it's not going to be amazing compared to something like the Wolfsfang Daggers, or if you go through and grab, like, a Pinch Whacker. Because it's a sleek effect that gives you more crit when at lower HP. Yeah, but, my only argument with that is the general player, or even the moderately experienced player, is not going to like their HP being low. That's my only thought. Now, is HP going to end up low often? Yes. Yes, it will end up low often. But that doesn't mean it's something that you want to, like, focus on. Because I feel like with the Crimson Reapers, and you go on Sleek Path, you almost have to focus on it being lower, so that way you can get that effect. And if you're going to do that, there's other stuff that you can do as well, that maybe, you know, upgrade defense, or increased health, or things like that. They're going to help you to avoid dying, but even still. It's a best lazy build for tons of healing. True. True. If you're talking about just like a laid back build, I will give that to you. True. Like, Mantis gives HP on crit, and the Reapers give HP on kill, so Sleek gives even more ways to proc. Yeah, you do have a point. Jason, how's it going, buddy? Black Ant Sword is an excellent, excellent choice to go down sour upgrade, Fana. I'll give you that. But also, it's okay to go down spicy build with it too. Even though we have the Coltana and even though we have the Sour Katanga, I would still say yes, Black Ant Sword, because of the charge timing, especially if you're going to be using it with a shield, is going to be better for you to use down the sour path. But I still like going down the spicy path with it just because there's a lot of things out there that are going to be weak to slashing and spicy damage, including most of the spiders in the game. So it makes it more valuable for you to go down spicy path, in my opinion, but that's just me. And do what you please in the game. Suffering from a migraine. The meds aren't working. Oof. Sorry to hear that, my friend. I only need 700 pebblets. I will say the Dusk Blades might even be better than the Crimson Reapers. The Dusk Blades? You know, you do have a point there. You do have a point with the Dusk Blades, because the Dusk Blades are outside what the Crimson Reapers normally do. And the Dusk Blades that you get, they end up doing Guard Breach, which charge attacks with dual sickles deal more damage to foes, addition to breaking their block, right? And you are correct. There's a lot of stuff out there that spends so much time blocking, because nothing really, like, perfect blocks you. They just tend to hold the block button as an example for when you're fighting them. So they'd be okay. Maybe you're correct. Maybe it'd be better than say, like, a standard set of Crimson Reapers. But the bonus that you get with the Crimson Reapers is the fact that they're free. And that's hard to pass up when you're talking Crimson Reapers literally being free for somebody who's just casually playing Grounded. You already are going to need a tier 3 axe anyway. So why not have a free set of weapons that come with said tier 3 axe? Because really, that's what the Crimson Reapers are going to be. They're going to be a free weapon that comes tier 3 weapon. No, don't drink that. God dang it. Wrong button. Go to the wheelbarrow for pebblets? Well, you know, if I was, you know, actually harvesting the frickin' rock I was standing on top of instead of... Well, then again, these pebblets aren't harvestable. But you would think, hey, look, a pebblet. You should be able to harvest it. Oh, well. Oh, sorry, late. Didn't focus. I'm doing phenomenally, Funkle. How are you doing, my friend? I'm honestly doing great. I have had a great day so far. I got to DM my D&D campaign, had my friends come over and play through. We had some great times. So many laughs at this point going through and playing, and they got through and they did some leveling. They did a boss fight, ended up winning, which was really, really cool for them to see. Honestly, it was a really, really good session. And, hold on. Scorpion. Banana Sister, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. No golds on those guys. Wheelbarrow for pebblets, though. Kind of a distance for pebblets. Also, too, the Dusk Blades have a higher crit than the Crimson Reapers. It has even more crit than the Icicles. You got a point.
Protein is essential.
You have a point, but even still, I will stand by my point of saying that the Crimson Reapers are still free. And it's really hard when you're talking the casual player. If you're talking the in-depth player, like I know everybody that's hanging out here is, that have been going through and grinding out all the gold cards and stuff like that, right? All those folks that are hanging out with us right now that are looking for tips on how to get further and further and further into the in-depth part of Grounded 2, right?
As Ali would say.
Those of you who are looking for those tips, they're going to be the non-casual player, right? Instead of the casual, I loaded into Grounded 2 today, and I want to play for 3 hours, and I want to play through the story because it's new and it's fun and blah, blah, blah. That's the non-casual player. Anybody who actually takes the time to go through, find the best builds, find the stuff that's going to make the game more fun, right? Start building a mega base. You have stepped outside of being just casual player and what's going to end up being fun for going more in-depth into Grounded. So, let's just say this. Casual player, Crimson Reaper's better. Going through non-casual player, probably Duskblade's being better. Question, what's the best spear? If you had to pick a spear, I would say Axel's Talon is going to be best spear. Rust Spear, okay. Rust Spear is okay. The Dusk Spear, I forget what it's called. The Larva Lance and then the Crimson Lance, I want to say it's called. What are you called? The Gloom Skewer, I should know. One of my favorite starting weapons. Gloom Skewer is okay. But if I was to give you one spear to go out and get, honestly, I would say Axel's Talon. The critical is really, really decent. Not really, really good, but decent. Speed's okay, but honestly, the Venom attack on top of it is really good, especially when you're comparing it to something along the lines of like the Rusty Spear. Infection is all right if you're playing more defensive build, but to me, I still think Axel's Talon is the better spear. The Duskblade Sleek effect is decent, but could be better. Valid point. I would say very, very valid point on the Sleek. But then again, that's kind of a lot of the weapons. I think that they go through and add decent Sleek bonuses to some of the Stranger weapons, also known as like the Crimson weapons or whatever these purple-ish weapons are called, right? Or known by. But to me, I'm going to call them the Stranger weapons. To me, the Stranger weapons, they're all okay, but they could be better. The Sleek upgrades could be better. Now, I'm hoping that we, at sooner than later, get some more advanced weapons, maybe even like the standard weapons that come into Tier 3, maybe even like the Black Ant Sword that ends up getting a perk maybe at Tier 7. Be neat if we got like a Sleek perk down Tier 7, but they haven't said anything about that yet, so don't hold me to that. You just need to upgrade it. Honestly, look, if you're looking to do it, and I want to say, if you're going to go down the Sleek path on the spear, go down Sour path on the spear. Because the Sour path on the spear, if you do Sour on the spear with the Venom against earwigs, it's going to help you out a lot with grinding earwigs if you're having a problem with them. Okay. Grabbed our pebblets, grabbed our... Oops, I think, actually, I put my pebblets away. I sure flippin' did. Let me go make some jerky, and then we're gonna grab our pebblets and clay and actually build our foundations that we have. Now, I actually got some really, really great tips in the comments the other day about not going through and using the standard pebblet foundations or clay foundations because they've been proven to be not as strong as some of the other stuff. And one, I want to say I appreciate those comments. I appreciate you guys going through and let me know. But two, I just like the look of them, which is why I go with it. If I wanted something that was stronger, or I was worried about going through and making a base that was going to take on a lot of attacks and stuff like that, I would build palisades or other walls around my base. But for right now, I don't mind. I'm more building for aesthetic than I am building for defensive capability at this point. All right, so those are going to be right over here in my rocks and clay bucket. Let me grab these. Grab 25 of each for now. Throw them down into the stuff that I'm making over here.
A little elbow grease and ingenuity, as Grandpa says.
And I think I'm going to probably have to go larger than 5 across. Because right now it's only 5. But I feel like that I might need to go further. Why are you not? Weird game. I need more pebblets. Might as well just put down what I can though real quick. Good enough. To be fair, too, raids are easily cheesable. Like, it's very easy to make raids despawn from losing aggro. Honestly, you're right. You can build yourself a little bit of a ladder or even staircase that goes up that's going to make the raid spawn on top of the bench. And then if you just move down the bench a little bit, they just de-aggro and disappear, right? And it makes it super, super easy to get through those raids. Only 3 more cards away from 50 for you, Jason? Hell yeah. You do love to see, oh my lord, you love to see that many gold cards being brought in, but you don't love to see your frickin' clay being skyrocketed into the atmosphere. Oh, Jason, I meant to ask, because you were mentioning it a little bit last night in the stream. How was everything this morning? I know you said that your spouse had some stuff that they were doing this morning that had to pertain to a degree that they were working on. Wanted to go through, check how everything went. Was it good? Did everything go the way that they wanted it to? Like, all bueno? You're 3 away from 75? Man, I'm 3 away from nothing right now for myself. I am 19? 17. 17 away from 50? 18 away from 50. I'm 3 away from nothing right now. I wish I was 3 away from 50, but I'm you know, yeah, it's going to be a while. Why did I build that there? That doesn't really need to be like, whatever. Just gonna grab what I have over here really quick, grab the pebblets over here, grab the clay that's over here, and then I'll make my way over to the wheelbarrow and we'll grab some pebblets over there and build up a wee bit more for ourselves. Sim-Alot, we're focusing on building and not so much like grinding out golds today. I've been grinding golds a lot lately, and playing Grounded 1 yesterday was a big relief of just being able to go through, play through some story stuff, play through some bosses, do a wee bit of building over there, focus on getting up a tier 2 set of armor and getting upgraded and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. But now coming back here, I'll grind golds again tomorrow. Small what? Monday, then we have Update Tuesday? Update Tuesday should be fun. Uh-oh. It went very well. The sermon was well written. They just had to read a little fast because they were, oh, no worry. Look, I read a lot of stuff really fast. But, I mean, the fact that everything went well, that's phenomenal to hear. Very, very happy for them. Tell them that I said, great job, even though he wasn't there. But even still, tell them I said, great job. Happy for them. Very, very happy for them. Also, side note, the mod was done, has so much in the patch notes. The mod that was done by the community? Or what are you talking about? There's so much in the patch notes. So the one that was done by the community has a bunch of stuff in the patch notes. Are you talking like the patch notes for the game on what's to come in the future? Or the patch notes just in general for the mod itself. You shall? Alright, great. Great to hear. Alright. Okay, let's run over and let's get some pebblets. I'm gonna grab some water on my way over to the wheelbarrow. We'll grab some pebblets over there. Heck, even while we're over there, I mean, if we're gonna be there, I mean, we might as well try to grind out the orcs that are protecting the wheelbarrow mixer, right? I mean, if we're there. Fuck, sorry about the whole getting you timed out on the long message thing, as long as you're trying to make something that was, within community guidelines. I just have something set up to make it so people don't spam really, really, really long messages. If anything, just copy and paste it into 2 messages if it's something you want me to read. You wouldn't believe the number of stuff that I get that has really, really long messages that pertain to random nonsense that I have to moderate out. Just thanks for the Grounded 1 and Grounded 2 vids. Absolutely. 1000% absolutely. And I'm happy that you enjoyed them. I'm happy that you found them useful. You know, going through and making them. Really, it was just something that, like, it was answering questions that I had when I first started the game for Grounded 1 and Grounded 2. And that's where a lot of my, like, inspiration comes from when going through and making a lot of the videos that you guys see. Is it's like when I have to ask myself, where do I go to get this, right? It's one of those questions like, well, if I'm asking myself that and I've played Grounded as much as I have, other people are probably going to be asking about it as well. So let me just go through and throw a quick video together once I figure it out. And that's kind of where I get the majority of the inspiration for those videos. So I'm happy that you found them useful at least. Do we have ash balls in Grounded 2? We currently don't. Woke. We don't have ash balls in Grounded 2 yet. That does not mean we're not going to get them in the future, but we currently do not have them. But do not be surprised if we get something like that very soon in the future. Maybe spring, no, not spring update, maybe summer update? Summer update may do it because I'm hoping that they didn't throw in the pumpkin walls instead of the ash walls. I'm hoping that the pumpkin walls are just as strong as the ash walls. Because personally, I think that the ash walls are some of the best looking walls in Grounded. I like the standard gray look. It doesn't have a lot of extra on it, which allows for kind of the open canvas of putting up a lot of different decorations, a lot of different other that goes on the wall, right? Been taking your time with Grounded 2? There's no problem at all with taking your time with Grounded 2. Honestly, it might even be a smarter strategy to just take your time, because right now we're going through and we're going to be getting an update in the spring. We're going to be getting playgrounds here next week. We're going to be getting summer update, which is going to involve the pond, but summer update is probably, if I had to guess, still like 4 to 6 months out before we actually get that. So taking your time might be a good thing to do. If you haven't even fought Axel yet, that's how you know you're just having fun with a game. Also, all the way that your spouse is doing on top of owning and running your own business for editing books, writing, coaching, and helping people with self-published books. Busy person. Absolutely. Well, I know what it means to be a very busy person, and for somebody who has the passion to go through and do stuff that keeps them busy all the time, whether it's going through like they're doing and writing and helping and stuff like that, and doing all of the extra that goes into book publishing, or they're just going through and doing stuff. I know what it means to be a busy person, by far. And it takes somebody who's truly passionate to be like as busy as it sounds like that they are. So, you know, kudos to them for being one of those passionate people. Let me grab some more Blitz. Been building small bases, getting ready for zips. Look, you don't have to tell me about getting ready for zips. I am very, very excited for us to get some zip lines in there. I may or may not have made the accidental purchase of zip lines well before I needed to in Grounded 1 just because of how excited I am for having them in this game. Because, man, dude, there's some things, right, that especially like the transit tubes that we have are okay. They're okay for getting to some, like, major areas in the game, like getting into the garden, that's fine. But, like, when I want to go harvest pumpkins, it takes, you know, 8 to 10 minutes for me just to get over to pumpkins and find a decent spot for me to get a lot of them, where if I had zip line, 2 minutes, maybe? And I cannot wait for summer update for us to get zip lines. Let me see, where is my torch? I put it away still. Sweet. All right, I'm going to grab these pebblets, and then we're going to head back home. I'm just not going to deal with being here, not being able to see anything, so we're just going to go home now and go sleep and build some more foundations, and then head back over here, get some more pebblets in the morning, maybe.
Little bug, as Allie would say.
You thoroughly enjoy the looks of the pumpkin walls? See, I said this in a previous video myself, is that I think that out of all of them, the pumpkin walls are the most aesthetically pleasing. For somebody who really, really enjoys the Hobbit look, when you go back and you think about, I mean, because when you make a round door like that, you're making Hobbit-esque doorways, right? I know technically there's lots of other different things that make round doorways and XYZ. Right? But when I see circular doors with plants and greenery and all of that, the first thing I think about is Hobbit-esque decoration. And for me, looking at the pumpkin stuff, it definitely gives that Hobbiton feel. And I love that aesthetic in game. So the fact that we got something like the pumpkin walls that are very Hobbiton-esque feel, I think that it's great that we have something like that. And I've been enjoying building up all of those different walls and stuff like that. You see I have some of it over there. Not a ton, but I have some of it over there. I must be using what's in my base right now, because normally you can't just slap down buildings like that. Although I do have some stuff that needs to be built down here. Oh, dude, Jason, you don't even gotta tell me. I know, right? Wishing that we got the curved walls for the other types of walls like pumpkin and mushroom. Still to this day, I can't fathom why we did not get those other types. It doesn't make sense to me, because you know the people are going to like those types of walls. You know they're going to want those types of walls. And I don't know why they give us the regular building stuff without giving us the curved versions of them. Like, we have curved grass planks and all of that, but why did we not get curved versions of mushroom bricks? Why did we not get curved versions of mushroom or of pumpkin stuff? I know, I don't get it. But spring update. That's what I'll say. Spring update. It's gonna be good. One change, by the way, the mod did was make Trapper Reaper tier 1 add 5, then 15 and 30. And then tier 5 goes to 75. I honestly wouldn't mind if they did that in full game. Give me something simple. Give me something simple like tier 1 for Trapper Peeper for increasing crit damage. Make it like 5%, right? Make it something small, right? and give us something that we have to battle towards. 5, 10, 20, maybe 30, and then 50, right? For the differences in amount of bonus that you get for each of the different levels of Trapper Reaper. Because to me, getting to 25 gold cards itself, if you're not an achievement hunter and if you're not somebody trying to get to 100% of the game, getting to 25 gold cards takes some time. Getting to 50 or 100, the fact that I'm at, what, 100 and some days and I have 32 is already really impressive. And that takes a lot of me knowing where to go at what times to get what different gold cards and stuff like that. The casual player isn't going to know that, right? So I think that moving that around and making the achievement a little bit easier to get, or making the mutation a little bit easier to get, not achievement, but mutation, is just a bonus. And honestly, I hope that they end up implementing that into full game. And we don't yet have anything that's 5 tiers on a mutation, but 5 tiers on something like Trapper Peeper may be one of those mutations where it's going to be worth it for you to have 5 different tiers of yoked blows. You're at almost 300 days with 72, but it can be 74 in like 3 minutes if you went to do the bosses. Yeah, but even still, somebody like you, I try, where it's like, if you're to go through and get all of those, even right now, where you can go through and get it to 74 in like 3 minutes by just going and doing some bosses. Still, you're at 300 days, and you don't even have Trapper Peeper level 3. So, how much more time is it going to take you to get some of the stuff that's going to be more advanced in the game? What if they change Trapper Peeper Tier 3 to it taking, I don't know, maybe it takes an additional, what would be a number? An additional 100 days, because you have to go through, and instead of Tier 1 being 25 cards, instead now Tier 1 is 40 cards, right? Because they add so much more and so many more gold cards to the game. You think it's going to be changed to 100? I wouldn't be surprised if it changes to 100. I wouldn't be surprised if it changes to 100 for Tier 3, 50 for Tier 1, and 75 for Tier 2. That would not surprise me even in the slightest. Alright, game repair. Cancel nearby blueprints. There we go. Now, with this, I think what I can do, hear me out. I think that for what I'm building is I could grab these guys and I could come out now, because I have a solid foundation, right? If I was to come out now and I slapped in my weed stems here, and then maybe I did something that was like, now this would be the actual gatehouse itself. And then on the inside, I grab maybe something like this. No, that wouldn't work. Maybe instead of there, I do something that goes like this. And something that goes like this. Right? Then I have a 3 across. And I take that 3 across with maybe something that is these weed stems, if I was to build them like this. 3 across to something like there, right? That's way too long. But even still, if I did something like that, and then maybe I did something where it came to... maybe pebblet foundations that were kind of spaced out. Maybe something like this. And then I just kind of did like across this little water area that I have here. And then did like some reinforcement or something on the pillars that I want to use. That's kind of where I'm thinking right now. Hey, Scott Rick, how's it going? How you doing? And welcome to the stream, my friend. You just had a cockroach nymph inside your base, and you don't know if that's normal. I will tell you, sadly, 100% normal. They implemented a change that made it so cockroach nymphs will spawn on you randomly during sleeping. If I was given a clear path to remove certain things from the game, that would be one. A lot of people do not like that. And I get it, right? When you're sleeping, they come in, if you have stuff in your inventory, they will spawn on you to try to eat the things in your inventory or in your chests or something along that lines. It's annoying. It's just something that's annoying. It's absolutely natural for something like that to actually do, but to me it's just annoying. It doesn't make the game fun. Having those in your house every single day is not a fun thing. Like a lot of what Grounded is right now is just there to be fun. The cockroach spawning, not fun. Okay. I need to grab Antoine. I need to grab my weed stem pallet. Now I need what?
This counts as research, right?
164 weed stems? This guy I think can hold 100? Something in there? Something close to that number. Maybe 60. I think it only holds 60, but even still. When you use the ant and you use the weed stem pallet and then you use yourself, you can go through and get quite a few of them. Phantom Dew, the bugs messing with the farms are even more annoying. Agreed. 1000% agreed. Change this out really quick. Go to my mutations. Pull Op Trap Reaper right now. Throw on Hauling Hero. Why not mine burrs and get weed stems? Because I like the look of planks for a bridge. I'll put more burr floors inside of the building, but I really like the aesthetic of the plank floors being down right now. How do they mess with the farms? The different bugs try to get into the farm to eat whatever you're growing. So if you're growing a bunch of berries and stuff like that, the ants and stuff or the roaches will try to get to your farms and eat whatever's on them. You totally forgot about the Hauling Hero mutation. It's one of those that you only get with coziness. And it's one of those that is easy to forget about because a lot of the game is not so much building. A lot of it is exploring. Building is only one side of the game where, you know, when you're actually going through and exploring, I feel like that's maybe like 70% of the game.
My buggy is not. The companion has fallen. Finally, let's get my bug out of trouble.
You didn't get is how they think the ladybug and the orb weaver are the same size. Agreed. An orb weaver in RL is way bigger than a ladybug. I think I've talked about this in previous streams, is that technically an orb weaver is way bigger than, say, your standard wolf spider even is. I think an orb weaver in itself is like this body, not without legs, just the body of an orb weaver is like this big, where a wolf spider, they tend to be a little bit smaller. You know, I've went out golfing one time, and I ran into like a little patch of forest where I smacked a golf ball and it landed over there. And I went in to get my golf ball, and when I did, like I looked up and here was this bright old orb weaver that was just massive sitting in front of me, and it was my first time ever running into an orb weaver in real life, and I was like, holy crap, this is way bigger than a wolf spider is. And I've seen some decent sized wolf spiders in the old backyard and in other areas where I've done some yard work before, and I was like, orb weaver's way bigger, especially than like a spiny orb weaver, because I actually have a spiny orb weaver that lives in my backyard. It just hangs out back there in a tree, and I've left it mainly because of grounded, but you know, there it is hanging out. And I'm like, man, a regular orb weaver is so much bigger than a spiny orb weaver, so much bigger. But once again, video game, right? Why don't I use the founder pack skins? Because I like the look of the mantis armor so much that I wouldn't want the founder pack skins to get in the way of the mantis armor. Honestly, that's the only reason. I like the look of this mantis armor so much that it's going to be hard for me to go back and use anything else when it comes to aesthetic wise. Obviously, going through and talking about if I get to tier 4 armor, tier 5 armor, am I going to continue using my mantis armor over like a tier 5 Black Widow set? No. But the look of the mantis armor, to me, it looks so good. It looks so good. It's my favorite looking armor in the game. So it'll be hard for me to move away from it.
A little elbow grease and ingenuity, as Grandpa says.
Is that what the orb weaver, that the broodmother is? Yeah, spiny orb weaver is what the broodmother is. That's technically the spider type that the broodmother is a spiny orb weaver.
Let's reestablish homeostasis.
I'm gonna need 17,000 frickin' crude rope now too. Thankfully, making up crude rope, not that big of a deal. You had a pregnant orb weaver outside of your window? It was the size of a golf ball? Yeah, ew. First of all, ew. Second of all, awesome. You just read that the Hauling Hero mutation in the community mod works on buggies? Works on buggies? Look, I like that thought for base game before we get to spring, because I think that in the spring update, when we get buggy mutations, it's going to up the amount that the buggies are going to be able to carry. Just plain out. You're going to be able to upgrade it. Sorry about the constant yawning over here. Up really late last night, up really early this morning, trying to get everything ready for D&D. Okay, let's make some crude rope. If I knew the buggies shared inventory, I wouldn't have wasted time getting more. Honestly, best buggies that you can get, Ant in the beginning, and then, because you have to, and then Orb Weaver. Ladybug, and the fact that you have to, like, work to make the Ladybug worth using, to me, is kind of meh. Some people swear by the Ladybug. To me, after they took out the Ladybug, like, damage glitch, it was kind of meh, even with the damage glitch. So without it, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. But then again, I'm a very fast-paced player. I like moving quick. I like getting a lot of stuff really, really fast. So, like, not having that is kind of, I don't know. I like moving quick, and the ladybug is really slow. So take that with what you will. Poopacabra? Yeah, fun name. And also, thanks for the follow. Do appreciate that. Fun name. Alright, let's take a little peek pie here. Looks like this goes all the way out. That goes all the way out. I don't know how many more weed stems in truth, or like how much more width I want to go. Maybe one more out? Maybe? I'm also thinking one more back. But with one more back, the only thing I'm worried about is getting really, really close to my stuff that's like my main base over here. I guess that's not too terrible. And then if I went with like a set of stairs, let's say, I guess we could do mushroom stairs, right? Maybe we went with a mushroom stair set right there. And then, I mean, if I had like angled stairways, we could do something like this. And then do like a single doorway right here. Maybe? This could work. Right, that's okay. Still, could be better, but I do like that. And then if I was to put up a doorway, maybe using mushroom stuff right here. And then we do window. And we could do standard wall. I would like to do like something that's not so blocky. Like, if I could get... Maybe we do this over here. Do, like, a standard wall that comes out this way. Give us just a little something that's a little different. Maybe something like that? Just give us a little something that comes out a wee bit. That wouldn't be the end of the world.
Let's reestablish homeostasis.
Side note, you can make a drawbridge with burrs. You can make a drawbridge with burrs. I did see that there was a short out there on seeing how to make a drawbridge. Cool. Cool. Not for me, but cool. Jason, you're not usually with you on Sundays, but because we only do D&D on Sunday evenings, but your DM is sick today. Well, I'm sad that your DM is sick, and I hope that they feel better soon. But also, thanks for coming and hanging out. Well, Fox, I mean, I would love to have that, right? Where you go through and you can load up a bunch of extra buggies. Get like 8 or 9 or 10 of them, or even more, depending. We just absolutely loaded down with stuff, and then you can come through and have them deliver all your goods. That would be great. But sadly, once again, that's just not the way the game is played. We have to have shared inventory, and tis but a tis. It would make sense with what the idea is on my current build. I guess I could, like, go out a little bit. Maybe, like, right after where this bridge starts. And, like, do drawbridges here? I guess. Have, like, a little bit of a drawbridge. So that way there's, like, hey, you can't pass this point. But I don't want... I don't want to make the whole thing out of burrs. I think that having, like, a little bit of a drawbridge... Maybe I'll have a drawbridge that's small on both sides. That could be okay. If we did, like, these different buildings that I've been working on. And we did, like, a small drawbridge on each side. So that way there was a little bit out there. Just a little bit that gives a little bit of extra. Right? I think that could be okay. A little bit of detail. That could be alright. We can do that. Is there a set number of how many of each bug spawn? If so, you feel like it's broken. Even in a few game days, you pass a group of like 20 or 30 ants near the ant hill. There's not a set number that's going to spawn. No. It just... The game spawns things in on timers, I believe, is how it's done. These the hatches outside of windows do closable window shutters, but then you're going to have, like, a big old friggin', like, maybe, I guess if you did, like, the single hatches, right? But even if you did that, say we put windows in right here, like this, right? And they went up. And then you had a window in between the two. You would have these weird, like, I don't know. You'd have, like, this weird, like, exports coming out. That's the best way I could say them. It's like a weird thing that kind of hangs out outside of your wall. Especially if you did something bigger. Like the, what you call them? The bigger weed stem walls. Or the bigger windows. You need something that's even bigger than just, like, a single. And that, to me, would look silly. Cool, but silly. Yeah, because, I mean, if you think about it, normally it'd be okay. But when you have, like, say you have a straight wall, and then you want one of those shutters outside of a window, you would literally have to have just a single or quarter wall, I guess is what it would be, that was coming out of your wall that's completely flat. Or even if it's angled. Say it was like a little bit of an angle and then you had like maybe you had like a half export that comes out of the outside of your wall. Then maybe you could kind of hide it. But then you're talking having a wall that comes up, in, up, and then back out again. I don't know. To me, I don't know how that would... I feel like that maybe the different textures and stuff like that would look okay. But it'd be like, all right, well, I have a wall right here. So I'm going to have a window. Okay. And then... if I had the drawbridge, like the quarter hatch. If this one went up. And I changed the axis around for it to be here. So that way it would go up. Then to have it come down, I would need to switch it, like turn it upside down. So that way it could come down. And even with that, that would only cover one part of a window. And you would need 4 to cover one large window. I'll have to look up to see how it would look. I'd have to look it up. Because to me, I don't think that that's not quite my jam. I'll say that. I'm not going to hate on anybody's builds. I'm not going to say that they don't have some good ideas. But to me, I'll say that's not quite my jam. I think that I would go a different direction. Hey, Brandy.
Take a breather, little bug, as Allie would say.
I'm putting all of my clay down. Gotta get my mushroom bricks out. Honestly, like, I think that the little, like, 3x5 that I have over here is gonna be more than enough for my base that I'm making. This little 3x5 is gonna end up looking pretty good anyway, so The only thing I'm thinking about is whether or not I swap out this wall and this wall. So like if I swap these, so that way this is a plain wall. This is the window. I feel like I'm getting too close to what I have over at my castle though, like right over here with that. And I think that this is going to look okay like this, with this being the main wall and this being where the windows go. Make a little like roof? Make a little like roof. What do you mean by make a little like roof? Sorry. Do I like the story from Grounded 1 or Grounded 2 better? I like the story from Grounded 1 better. To me, I think that the story... Well, that's also because the story in Grounded 1 is complete. But I also believe that the story that is in Grounded 2 is kind of forced. I like the fact that we're in a new area. But I feel like that the story is very, very, very much forced. Like, hey, you're going to be going over here because you have to go save Burgle, right? Where in Grounded 1, it was very much along the lines of, hey, if you don't survive, that's it, right? You were sent back here against your will. You're trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Now you have to go through and find this doctor that's, you know, Lord only knows where he's at, right? And good luck, you know? I think that that alone makes the story from Grounded 1 better. That's just my opinion, though.
Finally, let's get my bug out of trouble.
I just take half damage randomly? Half of my health? Yeah, watch the recap right there. Boom. Half health gone immediately. We do only have a third of the story, so it is really hard to compare right now. It could be in a couple of months when we get a little bit more of the story that the Grounded 2 story ends up evolving and becoming way, 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 way cooler. But even to me, still just the premise right now of go down into the garden or go down into the park, shrink back down again after you've already been shrunken down, and go try to find a robot. Technically, yes, that did help you save your
Rest
life.
up, little buggy. We can ride
But
together when you're better.
technically, if you were a full-size human, you could have grabbed Tiny Burgle's head and crushed Tiny V with your fingers, and that would have been the end. Where if you were like in Grounded 1 story, right, you would be shrunken down. You're stuck where you are. You did not have to be shrunk down again in Grounded 2, technically. So to me, I think that Grounded 1 is still a little bit better, but we'll see what happens with Grounded 2.
I didn't expect to beat you so easily.
And Grounded 1 story was very, very directed to. It's kind of forced. The only difference was the labs you could do in any order. If you had Grounded 2, the story base be like Grounded 1. Kinda, yeah. I feel, I don't know. I feel like that, well, I mean, it makes complete sense. The story of Grounded 2 or Grounded 1 is completely flushed out at this point, right? We played all the way through it. But even in the beginning, right? Even when you first loaded in, if we talk about July of 2020, when I first loaded into Grounded 1, and I got to play for 30 minutes, the first thing I thought was, the premise of this game is to survive and grow big, right? That's it. Simple. But that's what it was. And it was all about figuring out how we were going to do that. We're now in Grounded 2, there's so many extra elements. What's going to happen with Burgle? Who is V? Where was she from? Is she really somebody that was in the backyard? She says she was, but is she really? You know, what's going on with her? What's going on with Wendell? What's going on with Ominent? Is things going to change for Ominent? Is there going to be some sort of big turn? There's just so much that's going on just in the base story without adding anything extra, that it kind of is too much. Is too much a good way to put it? I don't know if too much is a good way to put it. That's a good point, Jason. That's a good point. I do like that. That is a good point. That literally halfway through Subnautica 2, they redid like the entirety of the story. And they could do that in Grounded 2. Do I think they're gonna do that in Grounded 2? No. No, I don't. They did switch up a couple things in Grounded 1. Because at the beginning of Grounded 1, there was a lot to do with the mysterious stranger that was back there. But then that kind of got switched around. Honestly.
Elbow grease and ingenuity, as Grandpa says.
So, who knows what will happen with Grounded 2. I'm excited. I still want to see a lot to come with with Grounded 2, and we know that there's going to be quite a bit.
Looks like it's all still here.
Yeah, but still, I think that I might still prefer. I prefer the gameplay of Grounded 2. I will say that. I like the combat in Grounded 2. I like the buggies, and I like the construction in Grounded 2. I prefer the base play style of Grounded 2. But the story I'm still more fond of Grounded 1. And it could very well be that it's just, you know, I put 2,000 hours into Grounded 2 and just prefer it for the story-wise. But if you take just like the basic game cycle, I still think I prefer Grounded 2. Yeah. You think that the developers of Grounded 2 are going to make Grounded 3 like in some random apartment? You really think so? I don't know if they would do something like that. I think that there's a chance that we could get like Grounded 3 inside of a house or something like that. Because you could do like so much in like a bedroom. Or in a living room. Or, you know, in any sort of biome like that. You could do so much. And yet still have a Grounded game. You'd still feel like Grounded, right? Because you're going to be tiny. You're going to be going through and exploring an all-new biome and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know.
This counts as research, right?
Sorry, I just noticed I had a wall that was right here that was just kind of in the way. I think I'm going to do too high here. I think I'm just going to go for a basic too high building. And maybe do something along this lines. Like, just kind of offset the arch. And then here, like this. So that way I have like this offset arch that's still like slap in the middle, but just a little bit different. I think that's going to look all right. And then I'm going to do something a wee bit different. Now, I'm going to need curved bases in order to do it. But I would like to go back to my roots and do old school, like, this is my bridge, right? Because back in Grounded 1, this was kind of like my ideal for a bridge, was something along this lines where you had like all of these extra wall or like these windows. And then when you entered the area, you could see all of like these windows that are going out. It made the bridge look really unique. So I think I'm going to do that. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? Grounded 3 hoarders? Now there's one that you can get to. They always said they didn't want to do anything indoors because there's just too many blank open spaces, like on the top of any flat surface, no grass, no bugs, no water, oddly shaped land. Yeah. Yes, but I don't know. To me, there's just so much room inside of a building to go. There's a lot of flat space, but you can make it so things are spilled, things are moved, things are... There's a lot of extra that you can do. Honestly, I think I actually have curved bases right now that I could go and get to finish out this spot, but I'm not doing it specifically until we get the update in spring. So we're just gonna have to wait for that, for this to be built in the spring update. Because I don't want to go too wild and crazy with this. An RC shop? Well, I mean, if we had a bunch of, like, itty-bitty little stuff, yeah. Let me see. Where is my... There we go. Half foundations. I'm going to put both of these in. Build these. Right? And then I'm going to save my game and I'm going to load. Because I don't want to crash. You want Crown 3 the Amazon? Yeah? Nice to have a returning boss from Grounded back. You'd much rather have an original boss? To me, I would like to see some of the OG bosses make a return. I know they said they don't want to do it, but for an OG player, like, they're like, well, we don't want to copy what we've done in the past. But, like, talk to the community, right? And the community, I would say at least 60%, if not more. Like, here, let's do this. Let me do a little check. Everybody that's watching on YouTube currently, let me do a little poll. There. We'll just do a little poll here. I want to see, honestly, like, because to me, I think it's like 60%. But I'm interested to see what you guys think on if you'd like Grounded 2 bosses to come back to, or Grounded 1 bosses to come to Grounded 2. Exclude the dumbass Wasp, because nobody likes the Wasp. Just going to put that out there. Nobody likes the Wasp. And we know that we're going to get more stuff in Grounded 2. So think about that. We're going to get more stuff in Grounded 2. But if they came through and was like, go over here using the exact same materials, you could summon out a Broodmother. Go over here, use the exact same materials, summon out a Mantis. Go over here, use the exact same materials, summon out the infected Broodmother. Or, you know, yeah, you could get the Wasp, I guess. But just thinking outside the Wasp, right? I bet you that there's quite a few people that would just like to see that stuff just come back, because it was fun. That's the thing, is the Grounded 1 bosses were just fun. And to me, I would like to see them all make a return. At least to me, I think that it would be a really, really, really good thing for the game, because you can add those in. You already have all the basic building blocks for the armor, for the weapons, all of that. I mean, you know, the different pieces of furniture and stuff like that. It's all there. The blueprint's all there for you, and it was fun, right? And just throwing it in there, I mean, I guess if you go to the flip side, it would mean that nobody would go back and play Grounded 1, because other than the story. But, I don't know. So we're at 62% right now saying, yes, they'd like to see Grounded 1 bosses back in Grounded 2. What about OG bosses and endgame bosses? Like, Shadow Wolf, are you talking, like, seeing, like, Wendell and the Mant? Well, not Wendell, but, like, Director Schmechter and the Mant, Assistant Manager. Is that what you're talking about, like, endgame bosses? Because, I mean, of course I'd like to fight the Mant again. I'd love to see what happens to the Mant when I'm wearing Ladybug, like, the new Ladybug armor or the new Mantis armor. I mean, give me the new Mantis armor against anything in Grounded 1. I mean, game on. It's going to be game over for them immediately. But the Wasp ain't bad, but yeah, use the knowledge from the last game. They said they don't want to bring back the Grounded 1 bosses, but they will come back as mini bosses. See, mini boss? I don't know. I don't know. Spend the pixels to make us new and fun bosses? Here's the thing. My thought with that. Now, I will be the first to admit I'm not a game developer. I'm not. I have no idea what it's going to take for them to put in, say, a broodmother into the game for us to go and grind, right? But if you were to take a broodmother and put it back over in here, mini boss, elite, spawnable boss, anything like that, I'd love to see that in here. And I don't know how difficult that would be to do, but adding something in there along those lines that you can go and fight, I think would be a fun little thing to do. Now, if they made it where it's a spawnable boss, I can go through and fight it. I need everything that I need from Grounded 1 in order to spawn it out. I'm fine with that. Even if it's the exact same boss, I'm fine with it because, well, I'm nostalgic, I guess. I think that's the biggest problem, is that I would be a nostalgic player. And I think there's a lot of people out there that believe that I would just be too nostalgic, too much in my roots, and that I should accept that this is a new game and accept that we're going to have some different stuff. It's not that bad since we have the code to so some lines of code we probably have to change, but it's already in the file. Exactly. It's already there. Everything's already lined up. You imported a lot of stuff and then just updated. We could tell a lot of the back-end code is either imported or copied. Just look at some of the recipes for stuff. Look at the mutations. Look at the damage numbers. I mean, the buffs, all of it. I mean, it's just copied over. Sure, it's got new coding because it's a different engine. I don't know.
Nothing like H2O.
I'd have to like to see if the tease is back. I mean, having the robots back, the Tase T, the Ruz T, the Archer, all of those. I mean, I'm going back and playing Grounded 1 right now and fighting against all those again. And just the feeling of going back and nostalgia for being able to go back and fight them again has been really fun. But maybe that's what makes Grounded 1 special. I could say that. Maybe they're not doing it because they're specifically looking to make Grounded 2 and Grounded 1 so drastically like, hey, you want to play Grounded 1, you want to remember Grounded 1, go play Grounded 1. I get that. But then if you're going to do that, don't have the game on Game Pass. Because if you are offered a newer version that's going to have the majority of the same thing, sure, the story's there. But after you beat the story one time, which honestly you can plow through the story of Grounded 1 and like, if you really push it, even as a new player, maybe 15 hours? Maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but I don't know. With the game being on Game Pass, I feel like that other than the story, with the majority of the stuff already being on Grounded 2, most players are going to navigate to Grounded 2 anyway. Other than not really understanding some of the stuff that's going to happen in the story, but the Wasp were just copied, and they're not resistant to venom since Grounded 1 it was poison. Yeah. Do I think Salt's gonna work differently? No. I think Salt's gonna work exactly the same as it did in the last one.
With the battle won, the knight looked for his wounded steed.
You feel like they missed an opportunity with an assistant manager inside the Ominent Archive at the end of the current content? You know, I have to say, I don't think I ever thought of that, but I do think you're right. I do feel like it was a little bit of a miss to not have some sort of robotic something or another Because, I mean, we have, like, a robot arm that goes through and gathers up the chip for you. So, maybe having some sort of robot in there. But, I mean, it would be rough to go through and fight a boss, but with how easy. Because let me face it. Come on, guys. I mean, honestly. And also, first of all, before I go into this, hilarious that we're at exactly 60% of people saying that, yes, they'd like to see the Grounded 1 bosses come back. When I said I think it's around 60%. That's hilarious that it's exactly 60% right now. But anyway, having a boss fight right after the super, super easy boss fight that was the Broodmother and that, like the masked fighter, I think they call her at that fight. Fight was so easy. Like, there was somebody that came through and they're like, I'm gonna go fight her right now. I'm gonna go fight the Broodmother and stuff. How bad is it? Should I prep anything? And I literally told him, just go in and fight it, because it's easy. Get some heals, I guess. But, and then they came back and they're like, oh yeah, it was super duper easy. You know, having another boss right after that, where we have to go through and fight something else right away, you would think would be kind of savage, but honestly, not that bad. Oh, damn it. Can I get that back, please? Will you let me relocate that, please? What happened to my lint that was there? It probably dropped down here. Well, there, wherever it was, it's gone now. Because the spider doesn't have any idea what the hell personal space is. Yeah, it's probably like 19,000 yards that way now in order for me to find it. Frickin' spider, dude. Like, there's one of my crude rope that definitely needed to be for something else. That's 100 floors there. It's because I'm working on making an actual bridge over here. And I think that it's going to look nice having this out here like this. No, at the archive. Oh, Phantom Dude, I get what you're saying. Tay's Teas in the archive wouldn't be bad. Like, I don't know why they didn't do that. Why? I don't understand why they didn't do that. Where they make it like a little bit of a gauntlet to go into the archive. Like, you fight the boss, you get in there, and they go down. That would have been a perfect spot for a dungeon. Maybe it's something they're working on in the future, where you're going to have a little bit of a gauntlet to go down, and you fight through a bunch of different enemies on your way down into the archive. I think that that could be cool. Maybe they just didn't want to do it because they're like, oh, well, we're going to give them a lot of stuff with the garden already, where they have to go patch water, go patch electricity, and then come over here. Then you got a boss fight, and then bam, you get the chip, right? Cool. But give us a gauntlet. Give us something where we have to go through and do a fighting gauntlet. Because there's nothing like that yet in the game. There's not anything where I have to go through and fight waves of enemies in order to get an item. Why try harder, dude? Why do you think they're not going to add robots? Just as a question. I'm not trying to, like, hate or point or anything like that, but why do you think they're not going to add robots? Having Grounded 1 bosses and Grounded 2 makes no sense story-wise. What would be the reason for having them in the game? What's the point of having scorpions in the game? What? I'm not trying to attack. By the way, Grog, I'm not trying to attack at all, but I'm just asking, going off of the logic that you put into saying, what's the point of having them in the game? What's the point of having red ants in the game? What's the point of having a mantis nymph in the game? What's the point of putting larvae into the game? It's because it's a bug, right? they don't have to be there for something that allows us to go through and accelerate further in the story or do a specific thing for a certain thing. To me, I think that it's just there for fun, in my opinion. I think it's just there for us to have something to go fight, right? I think that's the purpose of having it in the game. I don't think that it needs to be in the game because we need to have a story element around it where you go fight the brood mother and she gives you a certain item that you're going to need in order to go unlock Burgle and blah, blah, blah. I don't think you need that. I think it's the same thing as having, you know, like a Northern Scorpion in the game. They're just there because they're part of the environment. And I think that that very well could be the reason why they add some of this stuff. You know, there's so many, if you go up in this area, there's so many places in this spot alone. Orchid Mantis, Orchid Mantis, Orchid Mantis, Orchid Mantis, Orchid Mantis, Orchid Mantis, all of these different areas where you could easily put in an Orchid Mantis, right? So why not? It doesn't need to be in the story to make a boss or a mini boss or a repeatable boss. What does Axel do for the story? Right? What does Axel technically do for the story of Grounded 2? Absolutely nothing. He doesn't tribute to it. He does not build onto the lore of Grounded 2. He does not add anything to the game besides, that's a big frickin' spider that I gotta go punch. Right? That's all he adds. So why would you not have something else added? Mantis and the Broodmother had no place in the first game. That's a good point. They really didn't. I mean, sure, there was one message from Dr. Wendell Tully. There was one message where he talked about having an encounter with a Broodmother. One message in the entirety of the entire game where the Broodmother was mentioned. Okay? The Mantis was never mentioned. The infected Broodmother was definitely never mentioned. But, the infected Broodmother had a point because we had the infection in the game that was caused by Dr. Wendell Tully sitting there messing about with some mushrooms. Right? Still, I have to ask. I don't think that there's technically a point to having those bosses in the game other than they're there to have fun with. And I believe that that one statement alone, they're there to have fun with, is exactly the reason why we could have every single boss back from Grounded 1 into Grounded 2. Because they're there to just have fun. They're there to be something you're going to go to interact with. They're just there to add more to the map. Is an Axel from Home Alone? It might be from Home Alone. I have no idea, honestly. But Axel itself, as a spider that you go and fight in the game, has nothing to do with the story. Now, what I'll say for anybody who is watching the stream later on and are like, Sim, you nanny, you're going through and you're talking about Axel not having a point, and they've upgraded Axel since they've upgraded this, or since they've put out this stream and stuff like that. And now there's a huge reason why Axel's in the game, because he's part of a conspiracy where you have to go through and, you know, he's infected by Omninent because he's an ogre, or I don't have any of that knowledge at this point. But to me, right now, Axel is a big-ass tarantula that was let out of a terrarium way the heck over here, right? He was let out of his terrarium over here and crawled his big old way back into this corner where you go and beat him up. That's the story of Axel. So, is that the reason we have the tarantula because of Home Alone? No idea. But, end of the day, still, a tarantula does not make sense in this environment. But you throw in a praying mantis when we have praying mantis nymphs around, a praying mantis definitely makes sense in this environment. A broodmother over here, a broodmother where you have a spiny orb weaver, where you have other orb weavers, makes sense. Do scorpions make sense where we are? Technically, no. Depending on where we are. By the way, the terrarium would barely fit Axel. So right, Jason. I was thinking that as well. So 1000% right. Also, I did say why robots coming back. Okay, hold on a second. You feel like they were going to do something like brand new with Oven and such. So to me, the robots were like failed / starter mechs. Maybe they can add more robots that feel like, well, sure. Sure. So maybe ogres were something that's like upgraded versions of robots and stuff like that. But you guys got to remember, the robots, the Taze T, the Ruz Ts, the Orkers, the Assistant Manager, all of those, at least for what we're understanding was in Grounded 1, was all that stuff was made by Dr. Wendell Tully. Right? That's what all of that was. It wasn't made by Omnit. That stuff was made by Tully. And he just put that stuff into his yard. Because he's like, oh, this looks like a good thing to throw back here. Let's toss it on in, right? I need something that's going to protect my bases from spiders, from black ants. Let's throw in some robots, right? That's at least how I understand how that stuff got added into Tully's backyard. He's like, well, I need something back here. Dinky, what's going on, buddy? We've been talking about your mod and talking about all sorts of stuff with the story of Grounded. So, welcome in and feel free to throw your ideas into the old thought pool. So, let me ask this. Creator to creator, Dinky, somebody who to me has played a hell of a lot of Grounded, just like I have. And he made a hell of a lot of videos. In fact, probably, and I will admit this, way better at fighting the infected broodmother than me by far, right? Would you like to see the bosses return from Grounded 1 to Grounded 2? Would that be something that would interest you? Why or why not? That's the question, right? Yes or no is easy, but like, why or why not would you like to see them come in? Because my point on it is, wouldn't it just be fun to have them? Wouldn't it just make sense because of nature? Wouldn't it just make sense with area, right? You're not against it. Okay. Now, what I will say with this is that doesn't mean don't add other bosses. I'll be the first one to say, hey, that doesn't mean don't add other things. I'm just saying, why not have them? You just want the fun? Same, Phantom. Same. I prefer new bosses with new fights and all, because we fought them. Look, agreed. Agreed, Dig. Completely agreed. I would love to see new bosses. I'd love to have new challenges. I'd love to learn new fighting tactics where I have to go through and do, X, Y, Z in order to take them down. And I will also be the first one to say that they can go ahead and take their freaking wasp boss and put it right in their... Anyway, but same time, still, if the code's already there, if the programming's already there, if the animations are already there, just put in an arena. And maybe that's something that we can do with Playgrounds. Maybe in Playgrounds, it's like, for those of us from Grounded 1 that want to fight the Mantis, the Broodmother, the Infected Broodmother, the Wasp Queen, those bosses again. I mean, hell, I hope that they make it so I can go and fight the Assistant Manager again in Playgrounds. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe the answer is just go to Playgrounds and fight them, dude. Like, okay, fair enough. I can see your point, Sim, but at the same time, a game can only hold so much info. You'd rather it all new stuff and new things rendering on the stuff you've already done. The bridge would look better with pillars and foundations. Please don't think that the bridge is anywhere near done yet. There's next to no decoration on this guy yet, so don't worry. I don't know if you know already, but Playgrounds will have everything from Grounded 1 in it. All bosses, creatures, armor, etc. Awesome. Just saying. Awesome. Love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Especially, I can't wait to see, you know, old school one-handed daggers. It's back playing Grounded 1 the other day again, and just going out there with little Pete before and swinging your one-handed dagger repeatedly to fight things again. That was pretty sweet. But I don't know if that technically is going to make it back in. But still, you know, having all the old bosses and stuff like that back in Playgrounds is going to be pretty sweet. And that comes on Tuesday. I want to say they said it was Tuesday. This map's going to be so huge that it wouldn't hurt to add just one more bug or an existing bugs that we already have. Agreed.
A feat of miniature engineering, that one.
It's coming this week, yeah. Diggy, I'm at a point right now with, like, because I've been talking to the community about what I should build and stuff like that in Playgrounds. And I'm at the point with wanting to try to make an arena that I can't beat. Because the combat challenges are so difficult by the end of it that it's almost impossible to win at. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, well, what would it take, right, to do something like that? What would it take to make the combat so hard that we can't beat it? Other than making the enemies impossible to kill, because with our experience in New Game Plus, with our experience in fighting all the advanced stuff, I mean, hell, even Black Widows, right? Fighting those in the past, we have so much experience fighting that stuff that it's like, can we make something that's so hard that by the end of it, it's so incredibly difficult to win that it gives you almost Souls-esque, like, I finally beat it at the end of it. And that's kind of what I'm after right now. At least the introductory thoughts, we'll see. 3 infected broodmothers at once? Okay, look, I said hard, not impossible. I said hard. Because tier 3 infected broodmothers, 3 of them at once, I'm almost positive that it would be impossible. I've been proven wrong before, but I'm almost positive that that would be impossible. Two wasp queens with a brood mother? Wow. Adding... I'm not even gonna say it. I don't know. Brood mother to me is like... Even with her new stuff, if it's not infected brood mother... Look, I've beaten the brood mother in Grounded 1 with a friggin' grass plank before. Like, granted, that was before updates and stuff like that. But still, like, I've beaten down the brood mother with a friggin' grass plank. I've beaten her with nothing but fists. I've beaten her with so many different things. But that's, you know, a lot of experience going into that. So I'll say maybe. For me, at least, when I'm saying coming through and saying incredibly difficult, incredibly hard, I don't think that 2 Wasp Queens would definitely do it. 2 Wasp Queens would definitely do it. But throwing in a Brood Mother on top of it, it's like, you know, taking the AoE damage that could be done from a Brood Mother. Maybe. Oh, 1000% Dinky. Grounded 2 feels very, very easy right now. And it could change during the environment, yes. No, Broodmother adds, so 2 Wasp Queens will summon a slew of brood... Oh, you mean... Oh, you took the idea and said, no. We have a Wasp Queen that's going to come in, and that bitch is going to summon in about 30 friggin' broodmothers in to come and fight you. Alright. Well, while you're at it, why don't you just have it summon in a frickin' snake, too, and have it just sit there outside the arena and just strike in and kill you every 3 minutes? Oh, man. That actually got me when they were sitting there and they're like, well, they challenged us to go and fight Axel with just a Pebblet Spear on WoW mode with no mutations and no armor. And then we went and did it. And they're like, all right, well, we need something that's going to make it harder for the community. And their idea was just tell them that they can go and kill the snake. there's no way to kill the snake. It doesn't have a health bar. You want a difficult? I want a difficult, not impossible. There is a difference between difficult and impossible, my friends. Myself and the Omnibits crew have released a mod which freshens up vanilla Grounded 2. So yeah, there's I was talking about mods the other day for Grounded 2, and your guys' for sure is one that I'm looking to get in there and give a try for sure. I have to say I've not modded Grounded 2 at all yet. There's not anything that I've done in Grounded 2 that requires or imports any sort of mods. But doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Doesn't mean it's not something that I want to do. It's just I haven't done it yet. My biggest thing with that, though, is switching up the gameplay too much. Like, I think Why Try Harder Dude over on Twitch said something about you guys adding in 5 tiers of Trapper Peeper. Let me tell you, that's some inspired shit right there. Like, having 5 different tiers of, alright, I need to go grind out bugs and stuff. I do like the thought of that. And 5 tiers of gold cards, 5 tiers of let me go fight stuff and see how far I can get and get gold cards so that way I can slowly make Trapper Peeper better. That's good. And I'm hoping they take that thought of your guys' 5 tiers of mutations and run with it in the actual vanilla. How do I want to do this? You know, actually, let's try something. Let me try something here. If I went through and did something along this lines. Okay. And I went and said, give me halfies for walls. Okay. If I went through, give me halfies on walls, give me quarter over here. Okay. And then give me triangles. Like this. And then whatever roofs I'm going to use. Let me get, as an example, let's just use pine cone roofs for now. We got halfies on pine cone roofs. No, we got quarters. That's fine. We did something like this. Right? And then back up here. Maybe we could do this direction. Give it a little bit of feel. I think maybe this direction. Try to give it a little bit more. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I feel like if I'm going to do that, I'm going to need something bigger. Right? Like, something like this. And then maybe something like... Well, that might be too big. But... something like that. Right? In those zones, I think that would look okay. You made it so you have tier 5 gold cards for tier 1? Dude. That alone is already making the mod worth it. I know the game's in development and stuff like that, but... like... 25 gold cards with a 1% drop rate? Okay. 50 gold cards with a 1% drop rate? Well, play for 300 hours. 75 gold cards with a 1% drop rate, and you don't know you need gold cards, and you have bosses that can hard lock you out? And your game crashes? Because it just says go God, you just gotta love it. You just have to love it. I think Dr. Tully's gonna return in no questions. No questions Dr. Tully's gonna return. Classic memory leak. Bingo. Oh, it crashed so hard I have to reload all my shaders. Super crash. If we ever get a Grounded 3 in the future, you'd love to see a voxel and procedural? Procedural generated. Procedural generated Grounded 2. How would that... Or Grounded 3, not Grounded 2. How would that even work? Procedurally ground... You would have to be in a forest. Or a field. You'd have to be. Procedurally generated Grounded 3. I don't even know how that would work. Because with procedural generator, you'd have to have different biomes that are being generated in that would do different things. But points of interest, sure. But, like, procedurally generated Grounded 3 would require different biomes to be generated in, different anthills to be automatically generated in, or tunnels underground. You would need to have different enemies that would spawn in different locations, and it would have to do something along the lines of going through and adjusting difficulty and things like that in order to actually successfully pull it out. Why did it say layout 1 updated? Whatever. Which, I guess it could work, but it would have to, like, hold off advanced biomes until you got to a certain point, or just expect the player to die repeatedly, because if you topped in, say, a tier 4 biome on a tier 1 player, they're gonna get crapped on. You have to go ahead and take a freaking earwig and put it up against a level 1 player without any mutations, a pebbled spear, and no armor. 1% are gonna be able to fight it. 1% are gonna be able to fight it. Not even 1%. 0.5% are going to be able to actually fight it. POI is a point of interest. Man, this thing crashed so hard it broke all my shaders.
This counts as research, right?
You think the random spots of difficulty would be great? I'm not saying it couldn't be, but
Little elbow grease and ingenuity, as Grandpa says.
it would have to be a lot of running away. Because, like, some of the stuff just wouldn't work with how hard it would be. It just wouldn't work. Because, like, trying to fight a Black Widow with no armor on, 0.2% of the people in the community might be able to do it. Maybe even 0.1. You're talking something that's so surmountably difficult at that point. Like, Hightail, make it generate like that? Maybe. Depends on the weapon for the 2%. Oh, dude, depends on the weapon for the 2% by far. But even with that 2%, you have to, like, playing with a fighting a Black Widow, with nothing. With nothing. No Mithridism, or however you guys want. Mithridism. However you guys want to pronounce it. No weapons, no food, no armor, no nothing, no preparation, and it's just there? Oh, yeah, I don't know. Do you think the environment is actually a giant test chamber? No. No. Nope. Okay, I need weed stems. I need more bricks. I need more acorns. I can build this guy for the most part. I'm going to put down this guy. I don't know if do I want to do that or do I want to go wasp wall mount? Wasp wall mount's quite a bit smaller. There we go. We'll just put Axel up there. Just kidding. B? B? Not quite as big as guy. Cricket's too big. Cockroach? Maybe cockroach. I don't really just want to do like two of the same, right? Two of the same I think is, I guess I could do two of the same. I think I'm going to stick with the cricket for now. Location obstructed by friggin' what, dude? Location obstructed by what? Out of curiosity, tomorrow, if you stream, could we see the mod? If you guys want to see the mod that Dinky and some others made on the channel, if that's something you guys would like to see on the channel, I could pull it. I could make it be a thing. I could make it be a thing if you guys want to see that. Especially when we're about to go into grounded playgrounds mode. The problem is that it's like whatever I do, Rust Beetle's too small. Whatever I would do would have to be pretty much a throwaway. With it being a mod, it'd probably have to be a throwaway. Because it would be like, all right, go through and do this. Because I wouldn't want to, like, add it to this save. Because if I added it to this save, there's always an instability when it comes to mods. It's what modding does. There's an instability that comes with it that breaks parts of the games. It doesn't matter what game it is. There's always a tad of instability. And I would hate to go through when I'm working on a 100% playthrough, like this save, and mess it up, right? It would be a new world because it would have to be. Exactly. So it's like tomorrow, could I go through and start a brand new world? Yeah, I could do that again. That's oofta. But I could. Right? That's just a lot. See something here really quick. I mean, I could do that. It would be a hefty hefty ask to start over, but I could. It could be fun though. I will say that. It could be very, very much fun. Go back where you were. Why are you being weird? Why are you being weird, game? There we go. Or YouTube, but even still. If you change your axis where you're placing something down, you can change how far you can place it from you. Yeah, I know. I know. I just... it's fine. Alright, I need acorns, I need rust, I need pine cones, I need mushroom bricks. Well, I don't need mushroom bricks over there anymore, but I need mushroom bricks. Rust, silk rope, all that stuff. You wish that Grounded and some other games would do like what Skyrim did and add in game mod support. Yeah. Yeah, especially with some of the mods that were made by like some of the bigger parts of the community and stuff like that don't really break gameplay as much as just add to it, like the decorations and stuff like that could be added into the game, or like there's a part of the mod that Dinky Crew did where it's just some artwork. I think just adding in the artwork alone would be something no, but you just forgot. No. It's not that I just forgot. It's that I just forgot. But I think just adding in like the artwork alone could be something that would be a lot of fun. Okay. Anywho's it, guys? Well, for now, I think this is a good place for us to leave ground 2. I want to go over. I think it's time for me to go play a little bit of Terraria. I hope you guys are interested in watching me do that. We're going to go explore hell today in Terraria, so it should be decently a good time. And I hope you guys are excited for that. If you guys are, if you're over on Twitch, just hang out for a little bit. We'll be going live here in like 2 minutes. And then if you're over here on YouTube, just follow the redirect. You guys will get sent on over to the live stream where I'm going to be playing a little bit of Terraria. But thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you did, hit the like button and you guys way out over on YouTube. Thank you so much for everybody over on Twitch. And we'll see you guys here in the next one. Bye now.